Released this video about an hour ago. Benjamin Netanyahu released this video with a direct message to Iran about what is to come. I'm going to be sharing this with you so that way you can hear it for yourself. But in addition to that, he also has a message to the United States. Take a look at this. Hey, Western leaders, this is war. You need to accept the fact that there is a fight going on. You must end your enemies, he says. So enough with the diplomacy and all of this talk that's coming from the Biden administration. He's saying, Western leaders, this is war. Now, in addition to that, right now, this coming out, you can see that the Biden administration is fearing an Iranian attack. This coming out September the 30th, and I shared this with you yesterday, not only coming against Israel, but against the United States for what has unfolded, the information coming out in the last 24 hours that I shared you with. And right now, the United States is working with Israel on defenses, U.S. officials are saying. Then take a look. Biden says that he will be speaking with the Israeli leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, vowing all-out war, which is what the concern is of, in the Middle East must be avoided at all costs. Now, take a look. Right now, we're hearing there is going to be an Iranian response, and that response to Israel will be a choice, we're hearing, between revenge and survival. If Iran goes into all-out war, we're hearing that they cannot sustain. So they're saying that this would be devastating for the nation. And if they choose not to respond, it would be humiliation, but it would be them choosing survival. Right now, they're saying the markets are saying they believe that Iran will not be responding. They are going to choose survival. However, we will see, because take a look at this. I shared this with you yesterday. Some pretty incredible news coming out that the president of Iran had stated that Tehran, Iran, had fulfilled its part of a deal that was made with the United States, with the West, and we just discovered this yesterday. They said they did not retaliate militarily against Israel's assassination of Hamas's political bureau chief Ismail Haniyeh. As you'll recall, he was assassinated. They said we did not respond, and in exchange for that, listen to this. The leaders of the United States and Europe, they said those countries, they lied to Iran when they promised them that a ceasefire in Lebanon and Gaza if Tehran did not strike Israel. Noted the Iranian leader. He is saying, I was lied to. I was told that if we did not retaliate, that there would be a ceasefire. We were waiting for that, and it was never fulfilled. And then we saw...
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'm going to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in his gospel, broad lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just another update through the Spirit. Lord's will to be edifying, another lesson dealing with this war in Western Asia, as I will say. As we know, Middle East is a made-up term, all right? But basically, the shit is going down. Basically, after that assassination of that Hezbollah leader, America is vowing for retaliation or expecting Iran to retaliate because of the war crimes that's been taking place towards these proxies, man. Okay? They've been at it since October 7th, and it don't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. And like I was telling the brothers this week, I said, don't expect this thing to really slow down, because that guy, Bibi, he's basically he's basically trying to keep his ass out of jail. You know, like when he went to the UN Council, I believe it was last week sometime, majority of everybody walked out on him because they're realizing that, you know, everybody is realizing that the small heads is the big problem of the earth. They're the cats of the earth, and they are actually the ones that's bringing about these particular wars and these proxy wars and setting up these particular leaders. And everybody is waking up to Amalek, and the world is coming against him, okay, according to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. So World War III, I mean, you could say that this is a prelude or a start, which technically the Third World War has been really started since the time of the Cold War, which technically we're still in the Cold War. But when we say the Third World, we are meaning hot war, okay? I believe that I was reading some things when they was talking about sending boots on the ground. So they're going to invade by ground forces now. And once that starts, that's just going to open up a plethora of opportunity for Iran and proxies and other nations to get involved in this soon-to-be nuclear war. Okay, but it won't go nuclear until the MOTB is mandated, which that can literally be in a in a few short months, depending on, what they do with this whole BRICS summit, and on top of that, this whole this shutdown that they're supposed to be doing tomorrow regarding these ports. All right, Salakia, that's the Kurds. But anyway, it says, "Hey, Western leaders, this is war. You must kill your enemies." Okay, so that's a declaration of war right there. As we know that war starts verbally, okay, with threats and, sanctions and so forth like that, tariffs. And then before you know it, it's a full-fledged war. And we're seeing it play out, man, okay, because this is Bible prophecy. All right, so it says here, "Hey, Western leaders, this is war. You must kill your enemies." And I mean, that's as straightforward as it is. Now, we understand like New York Post and, these particular New York Times and all these other particular news groups or news ovens, I'll say it that way. A lot of them are juiced in, and a lot of them are published by small hats, to say the least. But regardless of that, it is what it is. So it says, Friday evening at the Levant, Israel targeted buildings in the southern suburbs of Beirut, killing Hezbollah General Secretary Hassan Nasrallah. It says this operation represents a dramatic shift in Israeli strategy. Not only have they finally liquidated an adversary they've been long capable of killing, they've also turned a deaf ear to their superpower patron of more than half a century. Okay, undermining. But at this stage, heeding Washington's advice in war is like taking counsel from the angel of death. Just as the U.S. is no longer willing or able to win the wars it commits Americans to fight, the Joe Biden administration won't let U.S. allies win wars either, because, for one thing, America is telling Iran to not get involved in it. But wait a minute, how do you assassinate a proxy of a particular superpower and expect them not to retaliate, just based on word? And the reason why America doesn't want Iran to retaliate is because they know that if Iran really gets directly involved, that's going to bring in Russia. And like I keep saying, America do not want to go to war with Russia, okay? Though it will happen because it's the scriptures, it's prophesied. But they're trying to avoid that war at all costs because, unfortunately, they like to stick their citizens with poisons that don't belong in their body. And they rather tax the people over here and put them to work and displace them and go up on rents before they actually fight a global war. Will show you how big of a coward America really is. But it says, by ordering a strike on Nasrallah while attending by the UN General Assembly, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu underscored the Jewish state's independence from the global consensus that has resolved not to confront terrorists, but rather appease them, whether they are plotting in the Middle East or living among local populations of Western nations, including the United States. It says Israel's attacks also shows that almost every U.S. and other Western civilian and military leaders have believed about the Middle East for the last 20 years was simply a collection of excuses for losing wars. It says the question that senior policymakers and Pentagon officials, think tank experts, and journalists have deliberated over since the invasion of Iraq, questions about the nature of modern warfare and the proper conduct of international relations in a multipolar world, can now be set aside for good because they have been resolved definitively. It says the answers are as they were ever were, at least before the start of the global war on terror. And we know that they disguise these particular wars under certain policies to be justified on taking resources. Like there was no war on terror. Okay, that was all set up to go up into Iraq, Afghanistan, and take particular resources and to kill people, man. Okay, this is how this society gets down, and this is why Yahweh Bashim Hawashai is stirring up all the nations against Babylon, man. All right, it says, contrary to the convictions of the George W. Bush era, non-conservatives and the pro-Iran progressives in the Barack Obama's camp, securing the nation's peace has nothing to do with winning narratives or nation building or balancing U.S. allies against your mutual enemies for the sake of regional equilibrium or any of the other academic theories generated to mask a generation's worth of failure. It says, rather, it means killing your enemies above all those who advocate and embody the cause that inspire others to exhaust their murderous energies against you. Thus, killing Nasrallah was essential. But taking down officers demoralizes a force, wiping out of its chain of command cripples it, and Hezbollah is a function of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And if it's allowed to survive, the Lebanese militia will replenish and train by the IRGC to replace the fallen. So basically, they telling them this is the time to extract none. You know, this is the time to totally eviscerate your enemies, man. And we understand that this particular regime, mainly of you Edomites, is a murderous regime. Okay, like all the wars, like that whole thing of October 7th, that was totally provoked by the small hats, man. Okay, if we ever understand anything about Esau in this nature, we understand that war is, you know, every war is a banker's war. You know, like during the time of World War II, those wars were bankers' wars, man. And why people were dying, I believe 80 million people died in World War II, 40 million in World War I. But out of all those bloody massacres going back to Stalin, you know, execution squads and the czars of Russia, you know, up into Germany invading Poland in World War II and America entering the war in 1941 when the war was over, what, 1945? And so basically to establish the U.S. dollar as a world reserve currency. That Pearl Harbor, I believe, what was it, the Pearl Harbor bombings? I think it justified them into entering the war. Then you had the attack on, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, or Hiroshima, when they pretty much, well, I think they donated the atom bomb, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, the Japanese have already long surrendered prior, and they still justified on wiping them out, man. Okay, which shows you how wicked and evil this corporation is. All right. So anyway, let's go from here. A couple of precepts real quick. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but this is the book of Joel 3, and I'm going to start at verses 9. It says, proclaim this ye among the Gentiles and prepare war. What we're saying is the preparation of the third woe. Okay, by the time this system fully comes to a complete halt and they introduce the MOTB, all the places or all the chess pieces will be up into play. So therefore, when all hell break loose, they can just skate right into this World War III, man. Because like I said, I believe America deployed like 40 or 50,000 troops to the Middle East just on standby. But I heard talks of them actually doing a ground invasion. So this is getting ready to turn up, man. Okay, we're really this close into Yahweh Shai coming back into the end of this system. And it's very exciting, man. Okay, we're finally seeing the end of an empire. And you know what? Like the Lord said, though it tarry, it will come. Surely it shall come, and will not tarry. And right now, it's not really looking like it's tarrying as far as on a war scope or on the front of war, you know. But as far as the MOTB, that's the only thing that's really holding us up. It's the MOTB, but everything else is full steam ahead. But it says, proclaim you this among the Gentiles. It reads, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. So this is what you're hearing with the proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, Israel. You got Iran. America is now sending threats. And on top of that, you got the whole Arab world that's getting ready to come against Esau. Okay, so the whole Arab world is getting ready to reunite against you devils. And that's basically 2nd Esdras 15. And it says, and beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. So North Korea, South Korea is getting ready to mount up against you, Western devils. Everybody is coming against you. And the thing of it is, your own allies are even going to turn against you, man. Okay, because everybody is starting to realize that the wars were never justified in the first place. Okay, just to kill people and make trillions of dollars off people's misery. You know, just to continue to fund your wicked interests. This is a wicked system, and it's going to be destroyed by fire. But it says, let the weak say I'm strong. But assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh, and let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. That word is Yahweh Shaphat, which is the Most High's judgment. Okay, so when you look at the map of the so-called Middle East, let me get it here. Let's do this. Map of so-called Middle East, which there's no such thing as Middle East. Okay. Western Asia, because Asia is like you got, this is where that war is going to take place here. Matter of fact, let's get a better map. This is the so-called Middle East. Okay, you got Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. Okay, and you come here, To the left, where the Nile, you got Egypt, and then you got Israel. And this is where that war is going to take place, which technically this whole continent here, parts of it is really part of Asia. Okay, and we know that Israel and Africa is connected. If you pay attention here, you can literally walk right into a different so-called continent, which is Asia. Okay? Because some people say that, yeah, Israel is in northern Africa, but it really sits on the continent of Asia. And this is why they got the continent title, or this is why they say the Asiatic black man, because, you know, scholars know where Jake comes from. It's just you Jakes don't understand where you come from. But regardless, that's that region. But it says here, let the heathen be awakened and come up into the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathens round about. So all you heathens are getting set up to be judged by Yahweh Shai, man. And this is why the war is getting ready to escalate. Okay? And hey, we've been saying it. We've been saying the least of the flock, which is the small hats. The world is drawing against them. Now they're getting ready to lead their allies into war. They're getting ready to lose. All right? And it says, put ye the sickle, for the harvest is ripe, and come get you down, for the press is full, and the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Okay? Yeah, because like I said, man, the small hats are the primary reason that you have this a bunch of sickness and illnesses and debt and poverty and hell on earth, man. Okay, it's this wicked ruler by the name of Amalek, Esau, okay, which is the chief of the nations, man. All right. 1 second, brother Salakia. Give me 1 second, brothers. My bad. And it says here, for multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, man. Okay. And this is what we're seeing brewed up. So going back to the article here, it says, Israel campaign went into high gear on September 17th with the donation of Hezbollah's communication devices, which the Israeli intelligence had booby-trapped with explosives, decommissioning thousands of the terror organization's medical and logistical support staff, as well as fighters. And you know what's so ironic? They're the quick to throw that big T word out, but from what I can see and from the research and from history itself, I mean, you could clearly see that the small hats have been nothing but a terror to the inhabitants on the planet Earth, okay? Especially when they came out with that deletion SHOT 2-3 years ago. Now people are all jacked up from that, you know, but if you speak on it, they're gonna shut you down. Okay, that was a invention of the small hats, man. Okay, it wasn't no Iranians. It wasn't no Iranians or anything like that came up with that concept of juicing everybody and people succumbing from it. No, that was Amalek, man. It says because Hezbollah communications and infrastructure, as well as the supply chain, was compromised, senior officials were forced to meet in person, but consequently, Israel was able to liquidate senior operations commander Ibrahim Aquil, who took part of the 1983 attacks on the U.S. Embassy and Marine backs in Lebanon, and other commanders from the elite Radwan force strike at the southern suburb of Beirut, September 20th. All right. So going back here, it says the sun and moon should be darkened and the stars should withdraw their shining. And the Lord also shall roar out of Zion and order his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So, yeah, man, this is all taking place because this is the time of our redemption. Okay, the scripture says it should be no more spoken about the deliverance from Egypt, but if we're going to talk about how we were delivered from the north land or from the north country, roughly paraphrasing it, out of the north, which is talking about the mass deliverance from Babylon, because the majority of the tribes are here. All right. This is matter of fact, let's go here. Psalms I think it's Psalms 140. 140, yeah. Hold on, Psalms 1. always forget where this precept is at, but I pulled this so many times. Psalms 140 and 2. Yep. It says here, deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man and preserve me from the violent men. That's these devils. It says, which imagine mischiefs in their heart and continually they are gathered together for war. So going back to look at this. All right, so just this guy alone. Okay, it says breaking news, Western leaders. This is the article we're reading. Then it says here, Biden administration fears Iranian attack is working with Israel on defenses. The assassination of Hassan Nasrallah leaves Iran with a fateful choice, and U.S. is humiliated. Iran vows Nasrallah strike will not go unanswered. U.S. scrambles after Hezbollah leader assassinate, braces for potential Iranian retaliation. And it says Israel said this is war message to U.S. and Iran, World War III. So these are wars and rumors of wars, man. All right. And these wars are going to be the end of all wars, because we understand that when Yahweh Shai comes back, hey, he's going to lay low the wickedness of this society. All right. This is the book of Ezekiel 38. And I'm going to start at verses 4. It says, and I will turn you around and put hooks into your jaws and lead you out with your whole army and your horses and charioteers in full armor and a great horde armed with shields and swords. Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia and Libya will join you too with all their weapons, their nuclear weapons. Gomer and his armies will also join you as well, along with the armies of Bel Togarmah and in the distance north and many others. Okay, you're gonna have Turkey in there. I believe Turkey was Togarmah, if I'm not mistaken. But it says, get ready and be prepared and keep all the armies around you mobilized and take command of them. A long time from now, you will be called into action, and in the distant future, you will swoop down on the land of Israel, which will be enjoying peace after recovering from war, and after his people have returned from many lands to the mountains of Israel, and you and your allies, a vast and awesome army, will roll down on them like a storm that covered the land like a cloud. But this is what the Lord, because they're going to invade Israel, but it says this is what the sovereign Lord says, and at that time, evil thoughts will come into your mind, and you will devise a wicked scheme. And you will say, Israel is an unprotected land filled with unwalled villages, and I will march against her and destroy these people who live in such confidence, which, honestly speaking, this is really going into America, because America is that land of unwalled villages, if you understand a little history on that. Okay? But anyway, this pretty much it, man. There's several other presets we can go into, but we're going to watch this thing closely, and we're going to see what's going to become of it. But for now, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord, will you edify?
Does your internet bill keep getting higher? That's because promo pricing is full of surprises. At Google Fiber, there's
East, where Israel has expanded its strikes on Iranian proxies. As President Biden warns, an all-out war in the region must be avoided. Overnight, an Israeli strike in central Beirut killed 3 members of a Palestinian militant group, and Hamas says one of its leaders was killed in a separate strike in southern Lebanon. Israel has also launched strikes targeting Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, killing at least 4 people and injuring 29 others. That's according to the group. All this comes after an Israeli strike over the weekend killed Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah. This morning, Iran has warned that his death will not go unanswered. Speaking on CBS Face the Nation over the weekend, Arkansas Republican Senator Tim Cotton expressed support for Israel's actions.
All of Hezbollah's leadership needs to be eliminated, just like all of its arsenal needs to be eliminated. Just like the United States needs to be much more forceful in attacking Iran's terror army in Yemen, where Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have had our sailors resting like sitting ducks in the Red Sea for months.
Our Chris Livesay has more on the escalating situation from northern Israel.
Good morning. We're seeing some of the clearest signs yet of Israel's preparation for an expansion of the conflict. Dozens and dozens of tanks, armored fighting vehicles, and bulldozers, virtually everything you would expect for a ground invasion. And this comes just days after Hezbollah confirmed the targeted killing of the head of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, and in the face of ongoing airstrikes in southern Beirut and in southern Lebanon, just a few miles from here. Now, if Israel is to mount this ground invasion, it comes after days and days of Israel making these warnings. But on the other side of that border with Lebanon await tens of thousands of Hezbollah fighters, many of them hardened by fighting in Syria, not to mention tens of thousands of rockets, There's also a long reputation in southern Lebanon and of Hezbollah using explosive devices along the road, using improvised bombs, booby traps, and suicide bombers. Chris Livesay, CBS News, Northern Israel.
All right, Chris, thank you.